Today's new view. Let's take it easy with flinging shame or judgment onto anyone. There's a quote by Malcolm X that says, "Don't be in such a hurry to condemn a person because he doesn't do as you do or think as you think. There was a time when you didn't know what you know today." The truth is, everyone is going through some kind of struggle, whether they talk about it or not. Unfortunately, Afghan society, which includes our very own family members and social circles, can sometimes make that struggle worse. They can weigh you down to the point of breaking you with shame and judgment. Again, I do believe that a society without guilt, judgment, and some shame can be like a car driving without its brakes. People should feel guilty if they do something wrong towards another person. They should feel bad if they're constantly indulging in excesses of the world. A society without the deterrence of guilt, shame, and judgment will almost certainly destroy itself. But having too much guilt, shame, and judgment can also be incredibly destructive. What I mean by this is that we're not God. We're not even mini gods, even though some people certainly act like it sometimes. But in other words, we don't have the full picture of everyone's life, psyche, and history to judge them. Often, and especially in this current world filled with self-criticism, most people are probably beating themselves up for things that they've done wrong. Yes, there are the rare exceptions of those who seem to have no conscience, and maybe some shame or a guilty verdict will help them correct their ways. But for many of us out there, we feel deeply, and we self-judge just as intensely when we know we've done something wrong. I dare say our Afghan culture is one of the heaviest and most traumatizing in the world when it comes to shame and judgment. These emotions are often tied to the concepts of not being a good Afghan, a good girl, or a good Muslim. Or they're simply tied to a repercussion of breaking cultural rules. How dare you go against the family? You'll bring shame on us. Statements like these are so revealing because they show how much families are afraid of how others in the community will judge them. Again, it becomes this unhealthy cycle of mardom chi megan, or what will people say, and the fear of badnomi, or having a bad reputation. In moments that you or someone you know may be flinging shame or judgment onto another person, it's important to take a step back to analyze the root of where that comes from. Is it out of some old-fashioned view of how the world should be, or how a good woman or man should behave? And what were the roots of those worldviews? Often enough, if you dig deep, it's fear. A crippling cycle of fear that their social reputation will somehow be diminished or destroyed by the court of public opinion. In today's world, though, this part of our Afghan society has to soften, or else it will wither away. Listen, there are so many great things about our culture, our food, our arts, our poetry, and traditions. But we have to be honest in acknowledging that certain beliefs and behaviors within it do not work. Some of those elements are actually destroying our communities and our mental health. So, for those of us who are living in the West and trying to reconcile the two antagonistic cultures of America and Afghanistan, please know that you don't have to choose one or the other. Pick the best of both worlds. For yourself, for your kids, for your family and loved ones. Pick what's healthiest and what works for you. Enough of trying to please the community or the extended family. There is so much beauty in both cultures that a healthy and happy medium can exist. Unfortunately, I've seen too many Afghans picking either the bad side of Afghan culture or American culture, or in the most extreme cases, the worst of both American and Afghan cultures. We don't have to be that way. We can get the best of both worlds and create a healthy and harmonious balance. It's going to be tough, but it is possible. I know because I had to get there myself. I know firsthand how shame and judgment from my family, from my community, and from my friends nearly drove me crazy when it came to how I should dress, how I should speak, how I should live my life. and the choices others expected me to make were based on how it would serve them. It was suffocating. On the other end of the spectrum, there were times when I was swayed too much by the negative sides of American culture and its trappings of social media and excessive entertainment or consumerism. There were times I would feel pressure from American friends about how I should live, what I should wear, who I should date, or how I should define my parents and culture. That wasn't me either. Now I'm trying to embrace the balance, the best of both the American and Afghan sides within me. In the end, neither side may be fully happy, but it doesn't matter because ultimately I'm responsible for my happiness, and I want my daughter to have a better shot at it than I did. With that said, I hope we challenge some boundaries and comfort zones in your household. You don't want to miss our next episode about Afghan marriage. I am your host, Noeed Jahed for Tuti. Khuda Hafiz for now.